Hello everyone, my name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. In this video, I'm not sure what I will talk about exactly, but we will see. So we will talk with Christian and figure it out.
I want to get to know Emacs a little bit better, because I want to hear your thoughts on another tool to start with. Have you used Neovim or just Vim? What are your thoughts on those two?
I was using Vim, and then at around maybe 2018, Neovim came along, or at least came into my radar, and I used it for a while. It seemed good, but I couldn't see the upside of it at the time. So I never used the Neovim in earnest. To me, it felt like, okay, Vim, but maybe the future of Vim because it will be maintained. But at the time, it was still basically the same as Vim. Looking now at the ecosystem, what I understand as an outsider is that basically Neovim took the source code of Vim and infused it with the spirit of Emacs. And what I mean by this is that basically they were like, how can we use this platform? How can we use this editor as a computing platform so that we can eventually have a more integrated setup where we do more and more things inside of Vim? And you can, of course, what you can do with it. But the idea is to have something that you control more and more. And it's not just a generic text editor.
Yeah, you can now view images in Neovim. That's something that only Emacs could do, right? We don't have variable heading sizes like in Emacs, right? But this, I don't know if you've heard of him, but there's a terminal creator named Kovid. He created the Kitty terminal. He's working on a variable font size protocol, so that could come to Neovim as well in the future. So, but you haven't used it, right? You just switch to Emacs.
No, I haven't.
And stay there, okay? And are you staying in Emacs for the rest of your journey?
I don't know. It's really comfortable here.
Yeah.
For me, basically, if I were to switch away from Emacs, it would effectively be to another Emacs. And what I mean by this is not Emacs, the name of the program, but Emacs, the paradigm of computing. And Emacs, qua paradigm of computing, is this idea of integrating more and more parts of your workflow into a setup that is consistent. So you will program it with one programming language. Whatever applies in one part of your setup will apply to other parts, such as your theme, your fonts, whatever custom functions you have written to manipulate text, all that. And eventually you get a more integrated computing environment.
Okay.
So if there is a better Emacs in that regard than GNU Emacs, yeah, I'm on for it. Why not?
Okay. Like an integrated environment, something that allows you to do basically everything, right?
Even if it's not everything, literally, it should give you the tools to extend it in a way that is seamless, in a way that you extend it as if there is no real distinction between the core and the extensions. Because that's basically the spirit, the paradigm of GNU Emacs and of other Emacs in the past, which is like there is a distinction between core and packages, which is just conventional. Like in terms of code, it's the same.
Okay.
So if you have that kind of seamlessness, I'm all for it. Basically, what I'm saying is don't give me a tool with a limited API and say, hey, here is your extensible editor. No, that's not the extensible, my friend. That's not what we have in mind.
Okay. Now, there's different ways to work in Emacs, right? I come from Neovim, and the way that I'm used to working in Neovim is with, I also use Markdown in my blog post. I use Jekyll. I use another, it's a different Jekyll theme, but yeah. And I use Neovim for that. The cool thing about Neovim nowadays is that you can view images, so I can paste images, from my clipboard into Neovim. I can convert them to AVIF. That's the format I use for images, or I could convert them to, I don't know, another image format. So in Neovim, I paste it and I can preview it, which is cool. But
Yeah, I mean, it is cool because now I remember my old days of using Vim, where for that, you would have to exit your
yep,
editor, go
yep.
someplace else, and then come back, and you're like,
No.
why?
Yeah, it breaks your flow completely, And people think that viewing images in Neovim is not useful. But if you have a blog post, I think it is useful, right? Because you want to see that you have the right image,
Mm-hmm. And just to say a general comment on this specific point, but I think a more general as well, which is like, what do you mean it's not useful? So something that is meant to be done on the computer, why is it not useful? The real question is, how can I do my computing in a way that I control? Like inside of my favorite computing environment, like in your case, Neovim, right? So how can I do what people do on the computer in a decent way, in an integrated fashion?
Yeah.
So let's not have it the other way around, because I think what people do is like, well, in the past, our programs were limited, therefore it's good to be limited. And I'm like, no, no, no. Our programs were limited for technical/hardware limitations, not as a matter of principle. If we don't have the technical limitations, then let's not impose further constraints on ourselves.
Yeah. I don't know. There's purists, I would say, and people that don't like that Neovim is capable of viewing images because it's like, oh, so you're just building Emacs in Neovim now. So that is, I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is, but the thing is, if you are a purist, why are you using Neovim? Why aren't you using the ed editor? Like, if you are a real purist, why are you here? I mean, seriously, because because here is the thing: you cannot get to choose how far the principle goes, because if you submit to the authority of the view that our editor has to be extensible, then you cannot just draw an arbitrary line and say, oh, we got, I don't know, Lua, but let's stop here. We don't
Yeah.
want images now. Like, why?
That's too far. Yeah. Makes complete sense, and I 100% agree. I try to extend it as much as possible, Like, let's say that I need to create a GitHub repo. I don't want to go into my browser and create a repo. No, I just, from Neovim, I have a key map, create a repo. It's going to ask me, do you want it to be private? Do you want it to be public? I want it to be private. And I create the repo because it breaks my flow. If I have to go to the browser, I don't even remember what I was doing to begin with. So I just like staying in Neovim. In a sense, I think it's trying to, at least for me, emulate Emacs without knowing, because I want it to be really integrated. I want it to be the main thing. I spend most of my day in Neovim between different instances, working on different projects. And if I need to go out, of course, to the browser or something else, it's fine, but that's what I spend my day mostly on,
Yeah, and I think this is very nice because, of course, somebody will say, but how trivial is it to go and create a repo? But it's not specifically about that. It's about the approach where, okay, I don't want just to create a repo. I have this custom command which creates a repo and also updates my About Me page on my website to list my new project, for example. And all that can be done because it's the same environment. I just wrote the code for it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
So it's about, be prepared to think outside the box. Once you have the option of drawing linkages between different parts of your computer, well, everything will be interconnected. So now you can work with it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I think people lack imagination sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Now I have a script that allows me to set my color scheme, right? I created it for Mac OS. So if I set my color scheme, I have some custom colors. So it applies it in Neovim on my Mac OS bar on the top. Let me show you that real quick. I'm not gonna,
Yes. And let me switch to, I see your screen, yes.
Yeah, but if you notice, this doesn't look like Mac OS because there's this bar on the top, right? This little bar. Here's Mac OS, but here's this bar. So when I apply a configuration, a color scheme, so I just bring them up like this with the fuzzy finder script, right? So it applies it in Neovim, the bar at the top, the B-top application, everywhere, basically, right? Because I want it to be integrated. So I'm extending my configuration to Mac OS, and it has its limitations, but you can do quite a few things actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And yeah, for me, that's also the idea. That's also the appeal of it. And by the way, I have a similar script for anything outside image.
Oh, yeah. For anything outside.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that idea. And I think there is the other thing, which is that a more general again thing, which is the computer is fundamentally a tool which at its best should allow us to express what we have in our head and to put it out there. And when we have the option of an interface that can empower us to do that, that interface should be tailored to our way of working and not we to its limitation or whatever.
Exactly. Okay. Now,
just to say another little thing, here you will see there is a note. So I have a small command to collect all those in a buffer and see what I need to do with them.
Okay.
That's a little thing. And from here, I can just go and read whatever I am interested in, like this. I have it here in a buffer because I need it to be persistent, but I could also have it in the mini buffer, meaning this interface that we see here, right? I could have it here as well. But I prefer to have it here because it's persistent.
Oh, okay. I have something kind of similar to that. Let me just quickly show you, okay?
Yes, please.
So if we look at my screen.
To your screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So, well, my headings in Neovim are a little bit different because I like headings a lot. So just let me quickly show that to you. I'm gonna switch to another project that is in my notes. Yeah, that's in my notes. That's in this test markdown file. So I can fold headings level 1 and level 2, right? So this is level 1. All of these are level 2 with another key map ZL. I think this is, I cannot see the letter, but this, it's level 1, 2, and 3, right? So I use that a lot. So to navigate headings, I'm not sure if it's a default in Emacs or if it works exactly the same way.
Yeah, I would say it's exactly the same for Markdown, for org mode, and also for any buffer you want.
Oh, for any buffer. Oh, okay. Now, let me show you something else, something that I came up with as well.
But just to say, of course, what I said there, depending on what buffer, you may have to do a little bit of work.
Oh, okay. Look at this. I have been completing some tasks here. This is not built into Neovim, something that I built with Lua, right? So in the interview, if I do here, Alt X, it's just going to mark this, Alt X, and it's going to move it to this completed tasks section and add the date and time automatically, right? I don't know.
Beautiful.
I like using this for this type of thing, for interviews, because I need to be marking stuff. I don't need to have it here anymore, right? I just need to get rid of it. So I just move it here. I'm sorry. Let's jump back. Let's jump back to your screen.
Yes. So back to my screen. And of course, what you have there with the timestamp, I think that's really good. And we have it, if I go to the tasks, we can have it in a lot of ways here. But let's say let me go to the agenda, because from there, let's say I met with Alexandros and explained how to be great. So I will mark it as done. And you can optionally have all these extra metadata here, where it says that from that specific heading keyword you have, you change it to this one at that time, and Yeah, you can have that. But what you have there, I also like, which is to also file them under a different heading. Of course, you can do that here with the configuration, but it's not the default.
Okay.
Whereas this one is largely default.
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff is built into Emacs already. That's the thing, because I talked to another guy. He was a huge Neovim user. His name is Theena. He is a writer, actually a professional writer. He was in Neovim and he switched to Emacs. And he was in Neovim Conf. He had spoken in like 3 different Neovim Conf, one of those conferences. Now he's on Emacs, and I don't think he's looking back because he says that for writers, org mode is heaven for him, at least.
I'm curious also because you mentioned writers. Did you cover the key bindings?
What do you mean?
Like Emacs versus Vim key bindings, like for writers? Was there any discussion about that?
No,
because of course it came from Neovim. Did you keep using Vim keys?
Oh, yeah. I think, I'm not exactly sure. We did cover that in the video somewhere. I think he's using evil mode. I think. Not sure. Not sure.
Okay. Just curious. I don't have an opinion about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah. Very good. So this is basically what I do. One other thing I didn't show you is that right now I am using a single Emacs frame. The other, what you see above those tabs, come from the window manager. But what you see here is a single Emacs frame. What I normally do is when I switch to a project, this is the project prompt interface. For example, earlier I moved to denote, but I moved in a way that I actually don't normally do. What I normally do is I select a project like this, and let's go to another one just to see. It opens a new Emacs frame. You can see above, the tab above, it says denote.org. Maybe it's too small of a text, but yeah, that's it. And this is a package of mine which limits the buffers. So buffers are the files you have open, basically, and what you have open in memory of Emacs. It limits the buffers only to those in the given frame, as well as some other global buffers, so-called. And the reason I do this is because if I go back here, you will see I have a lot of buffers here now. So over the course of, let's say, a couple of hours, I will accumulate easily 200 buffers.
Yeah.
And for me, I want those buffers to be organized by project, basically. So if I go, for example, to the Modus themes, I don't want to see anything else. I just want to see everything related to Modus.
Yeah.
And so this is the idea here. Okay.
So is it another Emacs instance or is it something else?
It's another Emacs frame. So it's the same instance. So if I really want, I get all the buffers and you can see them over there. You see? So I have them all. But it's just a way for me to limit them by frame. So in Emacs, we have the concept of the frame, which is, let me change the split a little bit to this. And maybe we can close Google Earth now and we don't care about it. So we can close this as well. So what you see here, let me just have it like this. So what you see here is 3 Emacs frames. And maybe it's easy for you to
it's like tmux sessions, sort of.
Kind of. Think of them more like, let's say, the tabs you have in tmux. Is it called sessions? I forgot now. But maybe it's sessions, yes. But
yeah, the sessions are the ones that you cannot see, right? Sessions are just like out there. Like
yeah, I'm
workspaces.
trying to think what is the right the easiest way to think of it, it's that it is one Emacs thread, it's one Emacs process running, but it's many windows, like the equivalent of Windows on the Mac with the buttons above where you can click to close them and maximize them. So there are many such windows, and the idea is that you can move them to different workspaces. For example, I will put those on workspaces 4 and 3. You can see the bottom of my screen, maybe. I don't know how large the
Yep,
text is.
I see
So
it.
here, 4 and 3, but they are all the same, right? So if I, for example, switch to a dark theme, which I will do now, okay?
Mhm.
And I will go to the other Emacs frames. They are all using my dark theme because it's the
Mm.
same Emacs. If I increase the font size, let's say, okay,
Mhm.
and that's another package of mine, by the way, I will go here again, font size bigger because it's the same Emacs. So it's the
Mm.
same Emacs, but it's many windows. And the idea is that you can move them around, and then if you want, you can augment them with what I have here, a package of mine, to only show buffers pertinent to the given frame, what
Mm.
you would call a window in Mac.
Oh, interesting. The way that I do that, if I just switch to my screen, is with
Yes,
tmux.
yes, and I see.
And I
Yes, yes.
I I noticed in one of your videos that you were aware of tmux in the past, right? So
Hmm.
that's one of the questions that I have for you as well. But this is my daily
Hmm.
note, which is a tmux session. So if I type a shortcut in my keyboard, right? Let me type a shortcut here. 3 keys. It switches to my dotfiles latest tmux session, right? Which is
Hmm.
just that repo. But if I do hyper
Hmm.
tr, that switches to my daily note. It creates
Hmm.
it, right? If I don't have a daily note, it creates it and it creates a tmux
Hmm.
session for it. So that's quite handy for stuff like this. Or if I want to
Hmm.
jump to my notes, another key map, it's another repo, right? This Obsidian one, you can see it
Very nice.
at the very top. So I use tmux for that, but on each tmux session,
Hmm.
I'm running a different Neovim instance with its own buffers. But if I change the color scheme, I still need to quit Neovim on each one of them and reopen it, because the settings are not going to be applied. So I like what you
Hmm.
just demo right now. You just change it in one place and it's just going, since it's a single Emacs instance, I assume, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a one instance, so it's like you just have many views to the same
Mm,
place, let's say.
awesome.
That's
Okay.
the idea.
Let me
And
switch.
for me, that's yeah, for me, that's a very useful. Like what you showed with Tmax is nice because you also combine it with the power of recreating something you have saved. You can do that in Emacs as well.
Hmm.
There are packages for it. Like how I showed with the bookmarks.
Hmm.
Imagine that a bookmark is actually arbitrary Emacs Lisp data, and you can do anything with it. You can recreate a buffer, you can recreate a frame, you can recreate a frame with all of its buffers, and so on and so forth. So it's just a matter of if you want to go down that path.
Mm.
So that which you showed, where you recreate, you reinstantiate something, I think that's very nice. What I personally like with the different frames of one Emacs instance
Mhm,
is the fact that I can put them in different workspaces like this. Because
mhm,
let's say, for example, I am here, okay, and I now want to have Firefox on the side here
mhm,
because let's say I want to view something, okay? It doesn't really matter now. Um, I don't have actually something to view, but let's imagine that I am doing this, let's say. So suppose I am looking at something here, okay? I need to reference it, and then I need to work with my Emacs over here, specifically for this project, right? And then let's say I want to go back to my other project, which is here. I don't want to have to mess around with this. It has to stay
mhm.
the way it is. And then when I am done, I go back to this one and I continue where I left it off.
Yeah, you have your environment set there. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. This is the idea. This is the flexibility of the many frames. Not to
Mm,
say that you cannot do it differently. Of course, you can organize it differently. The point is, for me, is to have the option of potentially having different projects running in parallel and
mhm.
me switching from one to the other without losing the context.
And the reason you're here is because I want to thank the different YouTube members. You should be able to see their names listed here. The first CEO that joined Web23, web23.com. We have 3 executive producers and the other YouTube members. I also want to thank the people that have donated in Ko-fi. If you like my videos, remember that you can consider becoming a member. That is what helps keep the channel going. Remember that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That just tells YouTube that the video is interesting for other people.